Juice WRLD was on top of the world at just 21 years old. His music had already racked up billions of streams with platinum hits like Lucid Dreams, turned him into one of the biggest young superstars on the planet. His most recent album, Death Race for Love, was #1 on the charts. He was enjoying his success flying across the globe, performing for huge crowds while on tour, constantly recording new music non-stop. Fame came so fast that each day he would almost have to pinch himself, feeling he was living in a dream world, just enjoying the riches his talents were bringing. But behind all of that came pressure, fame, and constant chaos. One thing money couldn't buy was a peace of mind, which he battled with every minute. But what his fortune and fame could do is give him unlimited ways to try and escape his mind with drugs. What started as a way to cope quickly became a destructive habit. The highs he once just chased became his regular day, turning his inner fantasy world into his everyday reality, all while everything around him felt like it was moving too fast to keep up. There were only a few places where time slowed down. Most important to him, his mother, who he saw as a superhero, the one person who made everything feel real again. Also, his close friends, the only people he trusted in a world that changed overnight. And last was Allie, the love of his life. They first spoke online, but the moment they first met, they became inseparable. He first told her, leave everything behind to come as she is, with what she had on in that moment, and she did just that. She wasn't just his girlfriend, she was his peace, the one who calmed his panic attacks, the one who understood him when the world only saw the superstar, who would often say, nothing else mattered as long as his mom and Allie were good. But what happens when you're stuck on a train you can't get off, and there's no way to stop it before it crashes? Juice WRLD had just completed his overseas tour and is back home in LA, spending most of his days in his home studio recording music. A few days ago, they celebrated his 21st birthday.
Say, but you're like, I'm gonna take over the world. It's been like, I'm glowing as hell, so everybody can suck my dick. Mama, I love you. Thank you so much for having me and raising me the right way. Dad, rest in peace. Wish you hung out more. I'm gonna see you in heaven. To all my enemies, sorry. To all my friends, I love y'all. To the world, y'all gonna like what I do, whether y'all like it or not. Yeah.
And one of his favorite gifts was the art piece Allie gifted him, which he hung on his wall. Also recently finished making plans to film a new music video with the Juice WRLD next month for their single. All week he's been celebrating his birthday with his friends, doing what he loved most, like riding dirt bikes in the desert and shooting his favorite toys. He preferred things like this much more than living the glamorous life. He just wanted to have fun with people that he loved. The same week, his mother planned a family and friends celebration for him back home in Chicago, renting out a whole go-kart track for the party. So Juice and his team scheduled a private jet to fly out to Chicago. But at this point, the drugs aren't just part of his lifestyle anymore. They're part of how he functions. When he's high, everything slows down. The anxiety fades, the thoughts get quiet, the pressure disappears, and in that space, he feels free. Free to create, free to be himself, free from everything chasing him. So he keeps going back to it. No longer to get high, but to stay there. And right there with him is Allie. They're living in the same world, one where love, music, and drugs all blur together. She herself has also adapted bad using habits, and both just trying to hold on to that feeling together for as long as they can. But what feels like peace is slowly becoming out of control for both of them and breaking him down physically. Even his girlfriend could see it. Though she battled addictions as well, she couldn't go where he was willing to go. The amount, the frequency, it was different now. And at this point, it stopped feeling like a choice. It started feeling like a problem. It became the biggest issue for everyone around him. Quiet conversations, worried looks, because at this rate he was going, it didn't feel sustainable anymore. It felt like every day he was risking his life. It got so bad, his engineer/producer, Max Lord, his girlfriend Allie, his label manager G Money, and his videographer, Chris, grew very concerned about his health and drug use. A few months ago, they formed an intervention, begging him to slow down and enter rehab. Juice was frustrated, feeling sad, and was hesitant, giving pushback that he will get it under control, but they no longer believed him. After another separate intervention with his cousin Beezy and manager Pete, they all kept reminding him of his deteriorating health. It's unknown to most at the time, but for some months now, it's alleged that Juice had suffered from a few seizures, even started getting some emergency checkups from a doctor at his home. So understanding this, his friends and girlfriend weren't taking no for an answer any longer. Even in the house they were all living in, Ali banned Lean from being allowed in because Juice was mixing too many bad things together, though he would still sneak some behind her back. He did sense their concern, and to ease the tension he told them he would enter rehab but let them know he won't stop using, but will rely on rehab to help him manage the drug use instead. Ali and his friends accepted whatever it would take to get him to slow down. They eventually agreed to a date in December, which was scheduled by his manager, Pete, all having a silent agreement in the air to try to help him manage his drug use until his rehab. Juice even reached out to his mother about the plans, and she was relieved, believing he was finally ready to take control and get the help he needed. Though his friends meant well, no one, including Juice, was prepared for that level of fame. There's no guide, no brakes, just pressure. And even surrounded by people, he felt alone, carrying it all, pouring his pain into his music, trying to balance a world on his shoulders that kept getting heavier. Back home in LA, Juice tells Ali before they fly back to Chicago to pamper herself with a relaxing spa facial and to get her hair done for the trip. She rarely left him, but this time she took him up on it. She made sure to keep reminding him to take care of himself while she is gone. He needs to be ready to pack for the trip and get some rest today. He reassures her he's fine. Though reluctant, she heads out, hoping for the best. His friend Chris is leaving the house as well to run a few errands for Juice, one being at LAX to pick up some lost luggage they finally got back from their overseas tour. But before leaving, he made sure to hide a bottle of cough syrup in his bedroom from Juice to try and limit his intake. Then he heads out. Juice is back in his home studio recording, but there was tension between some friends who had an altercation. And for someone with Juice's habits, any emotional turmoil can trigger his need to escape, which he easily gives into, becoming heavily intoxicated, mixing his usual escapes. To make matters worse, he starts to feel like his heart was racing too fast. Became so concerned that his friends called a doctor to the house for a checkup. Across town, Chris just finished up his errands, has the luggage, and is heading back to the house to pack for the Chicago trip. While out, Ali is frustrated because she has been trying to check up on Juice but wasn't getting an answer. She rushes back home and immediately is upset and storms into the studio. Sees Juice is in really bad condition. She takes him back to the room, tells him he needs to eat food, pack for the trip, and for one of their last quiet moments, they hold on to each other, trying to wash away everything that came with the night. Though it was far from over, they lay down to get some rest before heading out. Chris eventually arrives and is concerned for Juice after he learns of the altercation earlier and his current condition, even more when he realizes Juice found his hidden bottle of syrup that was in his room and drank it all. Eventually, everyone is all packed and ready to head to the private plane waiting for them at the local airport. They are running about 6 hours behind, so are rushing, understanding the flight could be canceled at any moment, but luckily they made it in time. They pull up to the jet, everyone gets out of their vehicles while the staff starts loading their luggage. According to some reports, unknown to them, one of the pilots seen a gun and other illegal items in one of the bags, which changed everything that night. Juice and his team are all on board now and have taken their seats, getting prepped to take off. He also had his own personal bag of drugs on him as well. While the staff is still loading up, Chris and others get bad vibes. At one point, one of the pilots gave him a weird look that made him uneasy. Others started to feel the same, but all decided to play it cool. Still, it became more weird because once everything was loaded and ready to go, the pilots were taking long to pull off. Seemed to have parked the plane in a dark area as if waiting for clearance, except it's only them at the airport, so they question what's with the hesitation. What they don't know is that the pilot who saw the gun is allegedly calling and reporting to the authorities what he saw, which obviously is the worst case scenario, especially with the major secret on the jet. On board in some of the passengers' luggage is 70 pounds of weed sealed in plastic bags. And surprisingly, Juice WRLD was already on authorities' radar ever since an arrest back in 2018 for drug possession at the airport. Since then, he was constantly stopped having his luggage checked, which is partly why now he preferred to fly private. This time is different, considering what all they have on board makes the situation even worse. The jet eventually takes off. Most people try to take a quick nap during the flight, and of course, Juice is still up, pranking his friends, even splashing water on one of them falling asleep. The weird tension slowly fades until they get a group text from Big Hen, who is heads of one of their security that's been waiting for them to arrive at the Chicago airport. He tells them the cops are all around, waiting for them to land the plane so they can search it, and they brought drug-sniffing dogs too. They quickly made it known no matter what, nothing can fall on Juice, so others will have to take ownership of anything illegal on the jet. Chris takes it upon himself to grab Juice's gun and puts it in his own personal bag to take the possible charge. Someone else takes the bag of drugs from Juice as well. Everyone now is anxious about what's to come. Once they landed, they could see all the officers waiting on them at the airport. They slowly start to exit the jet, and at this point, no one around him could see it, but inside his body, something is going wrong. In the toxicology report, his system currently has a dangerous mix of substances: oxycodone, a powerful opioid, along with codeine and promethazine. Together, these don't just add up, they intensify each other. As it's building in his body, breathing can become heavily suppressed, sedation deepens, and the brain can begin to misfire. In severe moments, this kind of condition can cause the body to lose control, even triggering a seizure. Understanding what's happening internally, surprisingly, he still manages to keep it together and cooperates with the feds to onboard the jet with his team. They make it in the lobby and first greet his security, Big Hen. The cops tell them all to take some seats and wait while they search the plane. Immediately, the dog sniffed out the drugs, giving clearance for them to search the luggage. A cop then walks up with a bag and asks, "Whose is it?" because it has a gun in it. Chris steps up and takes ownership. They immediately pull him aside to arrest him. Big Hen takes ownership of the other bags on board that also had guns in them, so they arrest him too. Allie quickly excuses herself to the bathroom to change into some pants since it's cold outside. She quickly turns back to Juice WRLD. As approaching, she can tell he isn't feeling well. She hugs him and asks if he's good. He says he's feeling a little sick. A cop breaks them up and tells them they need to sit down and separate while the investigation is still ongoing, so they sit down in the closest seats. Juice turns and daps up his friend G-Money, who's sitting next to him, reassuring each other that everything is all good. Then he quickly turns to Allie and tells her, "I don't feel well." That's when he turns completely, jumps to Allie and screams. She's startled and consoles him as he falls into a seizure on the ground. Everyone quickly looks. The cops tell his team to stay back, and to make sure it stays under control, they start handcuffing everyone together. With everyone surrounded, feeling helpless, Allie is alone, pleading for help and trying to turn Juice on his side. He's starting to bleed from the mouth and nose uncontrollably. Everyone is just staring at Juice, shocked and hoping for the best. Allie is in full panic mode, pleading for help while holding him, telling him it will be alright and to fight it. To everyone, it feels like time has slowed down, feeling the cops are just looking along with them. They are concerned that no one is helping their friend. Then, in the middle of the chaos, a detective approaches, spotting a white pill that had fallen from Juice's pocket. Suspecting opioid use, she reacts immediately, rushing for Narcan, used to reverse opioid overdoses. Ali quickly helps administer it with 2 nasal sprays. The convulsions suddenly stop, and he quickly comes coherent, locks eyes with Ali for several seconds, then passes out, almost as if slowly fading away. And as his eyes faded, so did the world around her. The paramedics have now arrived and loaded him on a stretcher and into an ambulance rushing to the hospital. Everyone is shook with what just took place, trying to process what happened, worried about their friend, especially Allie, who is extremely shaken up. A group of officers arrive and reveal that they found all the drugs on board. The group is still frozen in silence. No one takes claim of the drugs. The officers take Chris and Big Hen to their holding station to charge them for the weapons. They are booked and placed in their holding cells. Everyone is praying, hoping Juice WRLD makes it through. His cousin calls Juice's mother and tells her the bad news and how her son was just taken to the hospital. She, of course, is devastated, quickly leaving the house to be by her son's side. But unfortunately, she couldn't make it in time. Once she arrived at the hospital, was placed in a waiting room. A doctor walks in, and at 3:15 a.m., at just 6 days of being 21 years old, Juice WRLD passes away. Most of the world woke up that morning to the devastating news. His fans and music lovers around the world mourn his passing from someone who they felt was a voice of their generation and an extremely rare talent gone too soon. Behind the music, Juice WRLD was fighting something real, not a lack of success, not a lack of love, but a battle inside himself that no one could see or control. And maybe that's a lesson, because his story isn't just about what he lost, it's about what we can learn. That no amount of fame, money, or love can replace taking care of your mind, because taking care of yourself isn't optional, it's everything. So let's do what Juice WRLD was still fighting to do, find your peace before we lose ourselves trying to escape reality. Now, I think we all have or known someone that's battled with addiction or mental health, and it's only fitting to shine a light on Juice WRLD's mom, who has turned her pain into change, hoping to help others battling these same problems her son did. So if you or anyone you know is suffering, use this as a sign of motivation to contact her organization, Live Free 999, and text LF999 to 741-741 to reach the crisis text line for free crisis counseling. Also, if you would like to donate to the foundation, the link is in the description. Make sure to like this video so you can hype it as well, and check out more of our content that we have available. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thank you for the support.